Happy New Year from Midwest Sportsnet and 446 Sports. I'm Joey McWilliams. College football this week set to go here in 2026, and it is a great Sunday night. We are in the off season, but you know what? I don't know if there's really an off season anymore to college football. I think it's pretty much 24/7, 365, and it's a privilege to get to visit with you tonight. I'm Joey McWilliams along with Doug Gann, and it is a special privilege tonight to have Terry Harrison on the program with us live. Now, Coach Harrison's been on Midwest Sportsnet live a couple of times. I know. As a matter of fact, I want to say friend of the channel for sure. I've said it before, Coach, but I was adding it up with your appearances on the Summit and then on Midwest Sports Saturday. And now, first time with us here on college football this week, I counted 12. So I don't know if there's any greater friend of the channel than who you are. So I just want to say thanks for coming on tonight. And I've been known to say here on college football this week that the Terry Harrison factor is a real thing, and it wasn't discounted this year. So let's talk about 2025 really quickly. A 12-1 season, fantastic year, 5,979 rushing yards. You decided to take the old record, which you set last year, and just absolutely obliterate it. Talk about the season as a whole, because it was another great year.
Yeah, it really was a special year, and I appreciate you having me back. And you got to get some better company. If I'm the best friend of the channel from now on, it is best friend of the channel. Okay. We're shooting for 5,900 something appearances, or whatever. You know, we got to beat the rushing yards and appearances. But no, it was I'll go with that. It was a great year. You know, any time a season ends, it's very, when you get to that point and you're competing for a national championship, obviously you want to win it, and it can be disappointing. But man, our kids, we have really special players, and we work really hard to build great team culture. And I think it's the most common feedback we get is how awesome our kids are. And so honestly, when it ends, it's just it ends, and you don't get to see the kids anymore. And that's the worst part about a season ending. But now that we've had some time to reflect, and over the holidays, you know, we get a little break from each other. I couldn't be more proud of our kids and what they've done, and truly are elite young men who had a special season for sure.
Well, it was, and it's one that I know that we're all going to remember for a long time, and for folks who have were a part of it in any way at all, and getting to watch you all play, whether it be, you know, online, in person, or whatever. I mean, it's one that I know we'll talk about for years to come. I want to talk about the playoff games really quickly, because it was another trip to the playoffs for Friends, and it just continues it's one of those things, Coach. It seems like you just take step after step after step each year, and no different this year. An undefeated regular season into the playoffs, 1-1 in the playoffs, a good win over William Penn, a program that under Coach Benavidez now is really coming into its own as well, and then a tough loss against Benedictine, a rally that almost was enough near the end. So tell us a little bit about both those playoff games.
Yeah, what you mentioned is kind of how you have to look at it. What we believe is, if we just keep knocking on the door, you know, eventually, you know, we're going to knock that sucker down, and we'll win the last game of the year and play and be able to play there in Crowley Stadium there. But it is, it was a special run. I think there's just not been that many teams in our conference who've made it that deep in the playoffs, and so we had, you know, a really historical year in our conference. And so that, definitely proud of that. But, you know, winning that game at home against William Penn, eating Thanksgiving together again as a program. And then, like you mentioned, really gave ourselves a shot. Didn't play a great first half. We just didn't play great in the first half against Benedictine. And, you know, and obviously as a head coach, you got to shoulder that and say, you know, I wish I would have prepared us a little bit better. But the fact that our young men, honestly, at halftime, if you had told me, hey, man, we're going to have a shot to win this thing there, it just did not feel like that walking in, you know. But, you know, never discounting our kids, it just tells you how special they are, because it was really hard the first half against Benedictine. They did a really good job. But, yeah, we had it there on 3rd down and 4th down. I think it was on the 8, and, you know, it's I think it's easier to get blown out than to lose like that. So I think, you know, we had that one hurt a lot. But again, you know, like you mentioned, awesome to be in the playoffs, awesome to play at home. You and I have talked for years, Joey. It proves the fact that home field advantage is the thing, and it helps you be competitive. And, you know, we just want to keep giving ourselves those opportunities. And if we do that, you know, we believe here at Friends, we can knock that door down eventually.
You know, Coach, one of the things I want to look at is into your season. I looked back and I looked through the records, and the rushing, you guys are the most rushing yards per game by well over 100, but not one single player was it that I guess the question, you had about 15 guys in the top 30 or 40. Where do you find all the running backs?
Well, we've done a very good job. Yeah, very good job of recruiting. But what happens is, Doug, if you haven't had a chance to watch us a ton, we play a lot of kids, and when you're fortunate enough to win, well, let me put it this way: there are teams in the NAIA that win by 70 and 60 points. That's pretty. You see that happening, but generally it's the same starters that play the whole game, and they kind of get their stats really elevated. But what we've chosen to do over the years is we play a lot of kids. So I think our starters only played the second half of probably 6 total games. And so we were able to play a bunch of guys and get guys experience and develop this thing, for the long term, because we don't just want to be good right now. We want to be good and competitive every year. And so in order to do that, you got to let your kids play. And so that's some of the, when you see all the ball carriers, that some of the stats is because we play so many kids. And then we do have really good players, and we're too deep at every position, and we keep those guys fresh and keep them moving in and out.
Part of that game plan, I think, goes back to what you talked about when you were a player, and I saw that on a couple of interviews that you did. Toughness and physicality was what you want people to think about when they think about a ball club that you're coaching like friends.
Right. Yeah, we take great pride in that, and we protect our players during the week. We surprise most people. If you came and watched us practice, you would think like this team is running for however many thousand yards. But we think toughness is a choice, and you don't have to beat each other up during the week. And we like to think of a lot like I grew up in East Texas down there in the Piney Woods, so you see dogs on the chain all the time, and we like to think we keep our kids. Those dogs are on a leash all week long, and then we turn them loose on Saturday, and they get after people. And we keep our guys healthy and fresh, and then they lay it on the line Saturdays, and they have been, generally speaking, the most physical team on the field every Saturday. Even despite a loss against Benedictine, I think we were very physical and fit in that game against a really quality opponent.
Look, that's definitely one of the things that I saw on there was what won, and that tough mindset never lets you get out of the ball game either. You guys look like you knew you were in it the entire time on there. So I guess the spinoff question from that earlier one that I had: how do you get a wide receiver on campus?
Well, believe it or not, there are kids out there that like to win more than they like to catch 2 more passes a game. And so when you find the right kid who fits our team culture, who wants to be a part, of a Christian university and get the Christian football experience and play somewhere, you see the news every day, and you see college football and what it's turning into. Kids that want to be all about themselves, they don't make it here. And that's true whether you're an offensive lineman, a linebacker, or a receiver. And so those kids are no different for us. And so, our guys have done a great job of that this year, especially, man. We were just so good, man, running the football, and our kids are more, our receivers, generally speaking, when they come off the field, they're giving us advice on, hey, man, you can run this, or this, or I can block this guy to help spring some long runs. And that's why we get the feedback. To be honest with you, Doug, our kids are special, and it takes a special young man to come play here, and specifically at that position. And man, they've done a good job of that, and they took advantage of opportunities too. There, we had to throw some passes against Benedictine that really worked out, and caught a touchdown pass there at the end of the first half that really helped.
Coach, anybody that watches film, watches the games on there, understands that you've got a special group, and they are going to bring their lunch pail each and every week.
That's right. I thank you. I appreciate that.
Coach, I wanted to ask about the defense, too. I had a couple more questions while we have you on tonight. Here on College Football this week, we're getting to visit with Coach Terry Harrison. Shout out to Matt, too, because I know it's probably cold weather up where Matt is, and he's watching us with one eye and watching D3, the Stag Bowl, with the other eye. So, don't go cross-eyed on us, Matt. Be careful with that. You don't want to pull a hamstring or anything more. It's the start of the new year. Coach, shout out to Coach Kemp really quickly.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, I don't know what that noise is, so I'll say it again. Shout out to Coach Kemp, because I definitely want to say good things about the defense. I think he was a little offended at me, one of our Bet the Barn picks, when I was laying the line a little bit too high, and he didn't think the number was going to get up there, which it didn't, by the way. The defense stepped up and did its job. Your offense is talked about so much, but, I mean, what a great job the defense does as well.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate. I happen to coach the offense. I call the plays on Saturdays, and I coach the offensive line. And, I think just because of that, and then when you break some rushing records, it feels like that's all we talk about. But what you said is exactly, our defense was elite this year.
Yeah.
And really, man, especially against Benedictine, kept us in the game and gave us an opportunity to really win that thing. And so they've been phenomenal. He's a great coach. You know, we make jokes to our kids. They think we're like an old married couple. You know, we've coached together since 2000. I don't remember now, 12 or something. I hired him straight out of college pretty much. And anyway, so we've coached together so long, and he knows the game, and we run a unique offense, so that gets talked about a lot. But what he has done on the defensive side is unbelievable. And that group this year was really special, and among the best, if not the best, you know, in the country. And that's not an understatement. There's some really good defenses out there. We played them the last couple of years between Grandview and that group Benedictine had this year. And I think our kids fit right in there. And, you know, we run a little bit of a unique scheme on defense too. So that's kind of cool. And, you know, it's just not, you know, in the world of college football, that's not what people want to talk about all the time, but very proud of him. And they've done a great job on the defensive side.
Shout out to Tool Envy, who's watching some more football as well tonight. Man, for all you guys watching football tonight and still stopping by here, I appreciate that a whole lot. Let me ask that too. I have a couple of follow-ups, and one of them is to what you said just then, because you have those players that come through, and you know how to recruit to the offense that you want to run, and I would dare say the defense that you want to run too. And there are solid kids in the Kansas area that do run similar offenses, so it's not like it's any kind of culture shock for them to get into the offense you're running, because they've run it in high school. But to the point you made about Coach Kemp and hiring him right out of college, he's not the only one. I mean, you have other kids, and I say kids, I mean coaches on that sideline that you coached, that you brought back into the fold, and they're a part of what's going on there as well.
Yeah, our entire staff has been together this whole time, and all of our GAs played for us, and our kids want to stick around, you know, and so that helps a ton, because they play for us, then they want to stay and coach, which is cool. I think that speaks to our team culture a little bit, and they want to stick around and be around the program and give back, and I think that speaks to how we treat them and their experience there here at Friends. But yeah, we love that. I think it means more when you've played somewhere or in a program, at least that, you know, Coach Murray, our defensive back coach, played for us at Bethel, but it's really the same program at a different school. And so, yeah, we take great pride in that, and we will continue to do that as long as our kids want to continue coaching and give back. We want to bring those guys on to help us out.
Coach, I want to bounce off of that if I can too. And you alluded to this a little bit earlier about the state of college football and where it's gotten with, if you stub your toe, I'm going to go somewhere else or this. Mm-hmm. That's a special plan to be able to have those guys that want to stick around, but that want to come back. So how do you fight off all of that outside noise in a world like this? Is it just that special at Friends?
I mean, I would be honest with you, it's really hard. I don't think it's going to get any easier. You know, what happens is it's never something within your program. I think our kids feel pretty valued, and we do a lot of internal surveys and internal conversations to find out, you know, where we're at daily, weekly, monthly, annually. But yeah, it just takes some random person outside to tell a kid that the grass is greener, right? And I think what's really cool is we've been lucky. We don't have a ton of transfers, but when we do bring a transfer in, we make sure those guys get to share. Hey, maybe I know you guys are here and the grass is greener, but let me tell you what it was like at my previous school. And I think all of those things and those stories help clear up the picture. But no, what you mentioned is the state of college football is absolutely sick right now. We don't deal with all of the problems, but our kids have to read about them, and our kids have to see it on social media. And I'll tell you, man, it takes a special young man to play for us at Friends and to come here and stick it out and be a part of the program and all those things we talked about. Because Doug, what no one ever mentions is, you know, kids talk about transferring and kids talk about, you know, or whatever you hear about on TV, but, you know, the middlemen in the business of college football currently don't know kids' GPAs. They don't know kids, their graduation plan. They're not academic advisors. They're simply, hey, Doug, you're good at football. Well, everybody we play on every Saturday is good at football, but you know, they don't speak to that. Or maybe this team culture, that being a part of a Christian university, a Christian school, we may be saving some kid's life, and you never really know that. I guess it completely, but we hear that and get feedback from our alumni that, man, it was a life-changing experience. And unfortunately, you know, it's like anything, man. There's just poor leadership out there at the college level, at the NCAA level, and at the big-time college football. And, we have to deal with it at some level. So it's not our fault, but it is our problem type of deal. And it's it's just what it is. And you have to embrace it, and you have to choose to wake up the next day and keep fighting the good fight, and know that if we maintain a level of stability and we keep focused on the right things here, it does give us a competitive advantage, even though in the middle of it, sometimes it sure ain't very fun.
Last one that I've got for you, Joe, if you're all right with that too. You're making that mad dash towards early February. How's the class shaping up for you?
Well, I'll be honest, we're pretty much done recruiting. We shoot for early signing day. While we're not an NCAA school, we try to wrap up our recruiting by then. And so we're at a really healthy spot right now where we've signed really good players who are awesome families. And we do have about 9 or 10 transfers that'll be coming in this spring, most of which are kids we recruited in high school that maybe got bad advice to go somewhere else, and they realized, like, man, I should have went to Friends all along. So we kind of know them anyway. It's not new to them, even though they're going to be new to Friends. And so, we're pretty well full, and we're looking forward to spring, and we're just trying to make plans to get better and find, when you've had the success we've had, and certainly we are far, far from perfect. But are we going to maintain the discipline and have the willingness to critique ourselves on the minor things to give us another opportunity to have, hopefully get to the quarterfinals or beyond and give us that opportunity to win it again. And it's a long way to get to that point. That's what makes That's what makes those losses hurt so bad, because of all the work you put in. But I know our kids, with Christmas break and all that good stuff, are going to be a little bit recharged and, ready to get back in the groove of things and get ready to go.
Coach, I love it.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time, Coach. It's a privilege to get to visit with you always. I know we'll talk again on the summit as we get to preview Friends a little bit later on, but that'll give you time to get the spring out of the way and get through all of that and get those new players in. Looking forward to, I know it's going to be a different look. It's going to be a different look for you coming into next year. There's some names that we've been used to saying that we're not going to say as much anymore.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm excited about that. I think, and sorry, I know you're trying to cut me off. You're trying to play me off. You're trying to play the best friend of the channel off the stage there, Joey. Come on, man.
Wow. There's no music in the background. I
appreciate it. I might stay on for an hour here. How much time we got? I'll tell you this. It's the hard part at the end of that season and this special group we had, because they were awesome. I mean, just everything they did at Friends, and people. You know what I mean? It's people forget pretty quickly how bad it was before we got here. Joey, when we came here from Bethel, man, it was not a pretty picture to inherit necessarily, and that has long been forgotten. I'll just leave it at that. And the expectations are certainly high, and so I'm not a sentimental person, and our seniors understand that. It's like, how do you say thank you for that? Like, it's impossible to say it outside of saying thank you, but at the same time, we have really good players here, and it is kind of fun, and it's kind of invigorating to think about, like, hey, we're going to have some new names and new faces, maybe not to the program, and all of them have played on Saturdays, but now they're going to be playing when it's 0-0, and there's a little bit more pressure. And I'll tell you, I would not count the Falcons out. We have a really good group, and we will not. I don't know that. Maybe we're not the best team in the country, but we're going to be a tough matchup for anybody on every Saturday. And I'm excited to see this new group come in and do it, and for everyone else to get to see, the kids that we know we have on campus right now.
Well, we've said it here on the channel before, and Tool Envy said it again. I'll go ahead and put that back up there. I know you probably saw that on the bottom of the screen. He was saying it all year long. Friends is a problem, and I'm sure that there are a lot of coaches who probably feel that way as well. But we're well aware of what's happening in Wichita, and it is a privilege always to get to go up there. And it's on the list already. Mrs. Midwest Sportsnet and I have already talked about it. We're looking ahead to Midwest Sports Saturdays for 2026, and she's going to get to go with me to a few more of them. And hopefully she gets to make the Wichita trip again. It's been a while since she's been up there, so we're looking forward to it. Doug, anything else to close out?
No, Coach, I just for all I can say, and those folks that are watching on Joey's channel, they know what it is. But those that are on our 446 Sports page are not that familiar with the NAIA football. And what do you say to somebody out there about this brand of football and what it is that's there?
Yeah, number one, it's probably the best kept, well, maybe not the best kept secret. That's really the cool part of social media. It's the cool part of what guys like you guys are doing. And man, I can't thank you enough. I know it's it takes a lot of hard work. And I know sometimes it's a thankless job, but I'll tell you, man, we appreciate it. I know our kids and families watch everything you do. Joey specifically, because we're familiar with you, but now Doug, our families watch all that. And so the cool part is it should be highlighted because we do have special players. And more than that, man, elite players, man. I coached high school, big school football in Kansas for a long time. And, we're recruiting against all the Division IIs in the state of Kansas and across the Midwest. And, down there in Louisiana, there's just not as much of that. Yep. I grew up in Lufkin, Texas, and I had to come all the way up to Kansas to play. So it's cool now. There's some options down there. In Louisiana for kids and families. But I'll tell you, the more you follow it, the more you'll fall in love with it. And especially like we've already mentioned one time, when you see the chaos and all the stuff going on in bigger time college football, man, it sure is refreshing to see young men like at our program and others across the country. There's just so many good coaches out there and so many great institutions like me in a lot of ways playing NAIA football probably saved my life, to be honest with you. And so those opportunities are out there, and it's really cool that you guys are highlighting that. So I appreciate you, Doug, and look forward to, man, if you're fans, man, get to follow us and learn about our program. We'll do our best to make you proud for sure.
I promise you they're going to, and I'm going to have to look at the LCU bye week and see when it is and make my way on up to Kansas as well. I'd love
hey, that'd be great. Come on, best tailgate in the country. Best tailgate in the country. I promise you that.
Okay, he says that. Let me tell you something, Doug.
Look,
I went out of my way. I went out of my way to come especially back, and it's not – we've made many trips to Wichita. And 2024, the whole sick thing, blah, 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 that's in the past. Praise God for health and being well.
Amen.
Put it on the calendar, Gum. I come up there this year. They didn't do a tailgate. The one home game I was at, and it wasn't really a home game. It was in Wichita.
It was not a home game. It was not a
home game, but it was in Wichita. There was no tailgate that day, and I was disappointed. Just have to say.
I grew up tailgating at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. So it's pretty special down there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We won't have crawfish or anything like that, but it's great regardless.
I'll bring them with me when I come up.
That's great.
I know it's going to tailgate again one of these days, so I'll plan on that, and we'll just go from there. Shout out to, hey, listen, tell Coach Kemp I said hi. If he doesn't watch this, let him know that I appreciate him and all of them. And there's no music, but now I'm looking at what I need to do in the studio to get some music, start playing people off a little bit better. But without that, thank you very much, Coach Terry Harrison, for taking time with us on a Sunday night. We appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you, Doug. We'll talk soon, Joey. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. All right, we'll let him go ahead and go back on Sunday. That's great. I would never play Coach Harrison off. I don't think that would ever happen, Doug. I can't see a situation where that would happen at all. But we do on a Sunday night, and there's off-season stuff to talk about too. But thanks again to Coach Harrison for being on. Really quickly, shout out again to Matt for stopping by tonight, watching us and D3 ball as well. Tool Envy for watching the NFL and us tonight here on college football this week. And Doug, listen, you talked about it. Coach alluded to it, said a couple things about it. I want to mention just a couple things. We have 2 or 3 things to talk about tonight too on the show. But let's talk. Let's go ahead and skip to this one. There are a number of NAIA players that are in the transfer market as well. Again, no transfer portal, quote unquote. I hate air quotes, so I'm not going to make them. But no quote unquote transfer portal in the NAIA. However, the opportunity to transfer and to jump around is still there. One of those players is Montana Tech's kicker, Ryder Baranowski, who was one of the best kickers in kickoffs and otherwise for Montana Tech. Of course, that's a program that also went 12-1. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know situations at all. So I'm taking this completely from the 50,000 feet view of, wow, can you go someplace that's going to be a better situation than what Montana Tech has? You're talking about a school that, according to College Football Network, Coach Sampson, the coach of the year, you're talking about a player in Levi Torgerson, who, by the way, said he's coming back now. Yeah. He is going the rest of his basketball career there to and not only play football, but come back to Montana Tech to play football. So,
and that was one that was kind of didn't know if he would make the jump to D1, which he certainly could.
Oh, and hey, listen, they're good programs there. Montana State, both good programs. Jump over to another state over there, see if Boise gives you a look. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't know what the situation is, but it looks like there's something good happening in Butte, and I would imagine that Henchman 21 would say that as well. Another name that's popped up is Darius Neal from Georgetown, running back from Georgetown, who stepped out of the Tigers program at the start of the season, put his name out there to be picked up by someone, and I don't think it happened because it looks like he's posted again, hey, he's available for a team that may need him. So I say that then to lead in, Doug, that not everyone who posts that they're going to transfer gets that opportunity.
Look, Coach Terry was talking about bad advice and from the middleman, and that it just wasn't always what people are told. And if folks would just look at the staggering number of people that, and I'm holding off the air quotes because you said that die in the portal, that never put the cleats back on. Now, I know they have the opportunity to go back, but if those spots are filled, but man, there's a large number of guys that don't make it out of the portal. And we see it in all of the sports that we talk to. We cover baseball, we cover softball, basketball, and folks see that green grass over there, and it's not necessarily there at all. And I think that's another tragic part of what college football is. But we talked last week about fit, and if you're not that right fit where you're at, and you're not getting time, well, maybe there is an opportunity to go back and play somewhere else. But man, it's an alarming number of folks that are left in that portal.
Well, I'm going to throw one out there since we've given these two, and you talked about it as well. You may not get that chance. Langston University, by the way, still one of those places, one of 5 NAIA schools with a vacancy at the head coaching position right now, and we'll mention this in just a moment. But Langston University quarterback Aiden Hooper, who was the quarterback last season, about middle of December, somewhere early, I don't know, somewhere 9th, 10th of December, it was posted that he was putting himself out there in the transfer market. 2 weeks later, and it was posted on Christmas Day itself, Aiden Hooper said, you know what, guys, I'm coming back. I've decided that I want to be a part of this team. We're going to stick it out. We're going to push for a Sooner Athletic Conference championship. And so he is staying home there at Langston. And how cool is that? I think it's a big deal. I think it's something that should be celebrated because he doesn't even know who the coach is going to be. But he's looked around a little bit and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and stick it out where I was. And let's finish this thing together. Win, lose, or draw. Let's ride or die, and let's do it together here in Langston. So shout out to him because, as we've said, not every student athlete, once you put your name out there, gets that opportunity to come back home.
Look, let me play the other side of that too, though, Joey, just to have kind of a differing opinion on it or thought process on it. If you're in that locker room and the guy says, I'm leaving, and then says, well, I want to come back. What's your thoughts in the locker room? Are you prodigal son in open arms, or are you like, well, you didn't see what you liked out there? And look, I don't know the situation. We've simply been to Langston and we've been around it, but what's that fit?
Yeah, you do. You take that chance of possibly alienating either teammates or coaches if you say, hey, I wanted to go do something else. It looks from this vantage like it's, seems to be an amicable situation for who. So it looks that way. But again, they don't always get that chance.
We'll see it next season with LCU. We'll get a chance to see him because Langston's there in that Sooner Athletic Conference, and we'll get to see that for sure. But we're seeing a large number of these guys, and Coach Terry talked about that. Was that these are kids they recruited out of high school and went somewhere else and realized maybe that wasn't it, or had that PWO at one of these D1 schools and realized, you know what, I'm not ever going to play. I want to come back and play somewhere. And so thankfully that opportunity is there. And Tool Envy, look, just put up a good comment on there.
I'm going to get to that. Let me pull that down there. Halftime, by the way, D3, and North Central, which has been, quite a run in recent years in D3, leading by 4 over River Falls, Wisconsin River Falls there in the Stag Bowl. That's the D3 championship. So let's go ahead and put up what Tool Envy was saying. If you had a better opportunity, I would have taken it. And so
Julian,
that,
you and I are going to be good friends through the years, brother, because we're on the same page with that, no doubt about it. Speaking of D3, if we could hop into that for a second, I know the Stag Bowl is going on. The number 4 all-purpose yards leader this season. He played at Centenary College. Obadiah Butler is transferring out of Centenary, and he's making his way over to the NAIA, and he's going to sign and play at LCU in the fall. So the number 4 all-purpose yards, Obadiah Butler, is coming to the NAIA.
There's some interesting transfers from D3 to NAIA. I know there were a couple last year, and something we're going to keep our eye on here in the offseason as well. So you're seeing it up close and personal in your neck of the woods. Piney Woods, by the way, did you catch that from Coach Harrison? That Piney Woods area, that East Texas, if for anyone who's never driven from Texas into Louisiana, you can tell without even use of a map where Louisiana starts, because those pine trees are huge.
Look, there's and so when the kids both got married and got out of the house and all that Piney Woods Trail stretches down in Nacogdoches, where Stephen F. Austin is, all the way up East Texas, above Tyler and that area. I mean, there's a large stretch of it, and there's just a lot to see and a lot to do. Of course, Canton is over that way in Texas, that has all the big flea market, that first Monday trade days. But yeah, it's different. That and the roads, because the roads here are garbage, and so as soon as you cross over, your shocks are in trouble.
Oh man, that is
that's correct.
Hey, listen, no, TxDOT is also a real thing. The Terry Harrison factor is a real thing, and the Texas Department of Transportation, they do try to take good care of the roads. So yeah, once you get from Louisiana, you go back west to Texas, and they'll take care of that there. All right, Doug, I've got one more here.
Okay.
We'll throw one more out here on this Sunday night as we pass the half-hour mark. Appreciate everyone watching tonight. And if you're watching us live and you're this far into it, thank you very much. Let us know in the chat from where you're watching. Also, some of you all are watching on 446 Sports tonight. We appreciate that part of the community. Make yourself a part of the community. But also, if you're watching us and you're on watching the replay, man, you're a trooper. You've made it this far. Thank you so much for that. All right. I mentioned earlier there are 5 vacancies still at the head coaching position in NAIA football. Now, there are going to be 96 teams in playing NAIA football this year. Did get confirmation, too, from Nick Rule, the commissioner of the Hart Conference. We were talking about Mount Mercy, and would they be playing Hart because they're a Hart school otherwise? Would they be playing? And surely they would, and yes, they are. They will be in the North Division in 2026. So the Hart Conference will have 15 football teams. The North Division will have 8. The South Division will have 7. There are a couple of games already on the Mount Mercy schedule, but both of them are out of conference games. And I think one of them is a D3 school too. So I'd have to go back and look. Yeah, I know Grinnell's on there, so that's definitely D3. But 5 vacancies still available. That means there are now 8 because there were 13 head coaching changes that have been made. The most recent one was at University of St. Mary, and Taylor Calvert is the new head coach there. He is an alum, and he's been the offensive coordinator for, I believe, 5 years heading in under Coach Henson. So he is elevated and taking over that position at his alma mater.
It's special, and it goes back to what Coach Terry Harrison was talking about, is that guys are coming back in NAIA. What I'm finding out, and you guys have seen it, so I'm only going to preface this for another year or so, that I'm new to the NAIA family, but it's a special group when you're there. I mean, look at these coaches that are coming back to their alma maters, and they're bringing people. They met their wives there. They're raising their families there, and they're just growing with it. And that's what you see a little more of, somebody that knows the program, knows the expectations, but more importantly, knows the area and has connections to go out there and get kids to come back there as well and play football, or just get on campus.
Just get on campus. Well, as we start to wrap up here on this episode of College Football this week, we'll be going Sunday nights for sure. There are going to be some Thursdays live on Thursday nights as well here in this offseason, so keep that in mind. But back to Coach Harrison for a moment as we wrap it up, Doug. I know that was your first chance to get to visit with him. What a great guy. What an absolutely great guy. Not just a great football coach, but he's a fantastic person.
Look, and there are 2 or 3 people that I talked to about him, and they said you're just going to love him. You're going to love the person that he is, regardless of football. You're going to love what he does, and instantly he has that infectious personality. Just as soon as he's on the call with you, and look, I'm a fan of Friends as it is. Go Falcons, and I'll be. I'm going to legitimately look at our bye week this week and figure out where the trip is going to be on when I'm not on the call.
Yeah, see if there's a home game in Wichita during that. You need to check it out. It is worth it. I had it locked in for more than a year because I knew exactly when it was going to be, and I'd had it in there, and I was disappointed the year before because I didn't get to go. And it was the week that they had it there in the AA baseball, the Wind Surge, the Wichita Wind Surge. They had it on the baseball field. It was a Wichita game, but it wasn't a home game. But yes, I've heard great things about the tailgates there and that it's fantastic. All right, let's put this one up here really quickly. Tool Envy, NAIA football is still old school in my opinion. I haven't seen hitting on TV like I do in person Saturdays in years. More fun to watch. And Tool Envy, I think you're right on that one too. And by the way, he's seen a lot of Grandview football, so I'm sure you have seen some hits. Absolutely. We saw some hits. We definitely saw some hits down in Fort Worth from that Grandview team. Look, my goodness.
It was incredible, but these are D1 guys on the offensive and defensive lines there, that they're just in there being part of something special. There's some dudes in NAIA football.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That trip to Fort Worth was a lot of fun. It's amazing that how quickly the football seasons go by. And I don't know about you, Doug. I don't think you're as old as I am, but these
we've had that. I'm older than you.
Oh, you are. That's right. Well, hey, I was trying to give you credit on that one. You didn't have to say anything. You could have just let that one go on through, and nope. These seasons seem to go by more quickly now. I don't. I know it's just a part of life, but
so I've got it figured out, Joey. It's because you don't stop. There's no off season. We jumped right into basketball, and now we're starting our softball previews tomorrow night. We'll air our first softball preview for high school. We're going to also preview the Red River Athletic Conference teams. We'll start getting that out because, as you know, this area is Red River Athletic Conference, except for football for LCU, which goes out to the Sooner Athletic. But we'll start previewing those guys, and we full cover softball. Tool Envy's right. Spring ball is right around the corner. Goodness gracious.
Well, let me give you that chance as we wrap up, Doug. What's on the docket for 446 Sports this week? You were just telling us right there.
Yes, we've got our game of the week in basketball comes up on Tuesday night, so we'll go do that. But starting tomorrow night, we're going to have interviews with all of the softball teams in the state of Louisiana. We're trying to. There's a little over 200, so we're working on getting all of those before we start the tournament play that comes up. But we're also going to start talking Red River Athletic Conference softball. You'll be able to find that on our channel. Oh, yeah, NAIA football all year round.
All right. Well, really quick then, we have, I know, a couple of good interviews coming up on the summit here on Midwest Sports Net, and I know you're going to appreciate that. So stop by the channel. We have a couple of that I think you'll enjoy, and so I'm excited about those interviews coming up. I try not to say who they are just because every now and again when I do that, it seems like something happens. I don't believe in jinxes, but sometimes it happens. So I'm just gonna take that there. What was it? Tool Envy didn't want to mess with the football gods and pick any of those games last year. So I try to keep those names out. But be sure to stop by the channel. If you have not subscribed to Midwest Sportsnet, please do that. And we have some great interviews coming up this week on the summit. And by the way, we do more than college football this week here on the channel as well. But we're talking football tonight. Last words, Doug.
Look, anybody that doesn't think things can go wrong, you had a year out trip planned to the best NAIA tailgate school there is, and then they don't have one. So anything can happen.
They will this next year. Well, we're figuring out Midwest Sports Saturday for the fall already. So, all right, for Doug Gann, I'm Joey McWilliams. Thank you all for watching. Tool Envy, Matt, thank you guys for watching us and football alongside on top of that. And for everyone else who is part of the broadcast, we appreciate you stopping by. It's a privilege to get to talk with you about college football each week. We will be back next Sunday night for sure. And there will be some Thursday night college football this week appearances as well in this off season. God bless you all. Thanks again for watching. Have a great, great night. Oh, and Happy New Year.
Yes.
God bless you this year. Have a good night.